In this short episode of the podcast, we're going to share 10 fun facts about CrossFit Edwardsville that you probably didn't know. Stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, party people? It's Coach G from CrossFit Edwardsville here. I'm one of the coaching staff at CrossFit Edwardsville, and super excited to welcome you, our audience, to the CFE Community Podcast, where we talk to our CFE coaches and learn from them, learn about our CFE CrossFitters, occasionally meet, hang out, and learn from and about our Glen Ed business leaders and their businesses. In today's episode, we're going to share with you guys 10 fun facts about CrossFit Edwardsville that you probably didn't know. So without further ado, let's get into number one. Boom. CrossFit Edwardsville was born in 2010. And interestingly, it was born initially as a church group. It was a ministry where the founders would teach in a church setting about fitness and nutrition, and had a super humble beginning. Like the earliest weights at CrossFit Edwardsville were dumbbells and PVC pipes that had been filled with sand to add weight to the PVC pipe and used as makeshift bars. The earliest medicine balls were basketballs that have been cut open and filled with sand to produce a weighted ball. Super humble beginnings. Number two. And by that topic, by the way, before I get off that topic, it was also fun. We're very proud that CrossFit Edwardsville has also been around now as of the recording of this podcast. This is year number 13. Very few small businesses ever make it this far. A lot of gyms never made it out of the pandemic. A lot of gyms perished. Super proud that CrossFit Edwardsville continues to go strong here in what is now, as of this recording, 2023. All right, next. Number two, CFE is a female and minority-owned local business. One of the owners of CrossFit Edwardsville is a Filipino female, which makes it a female and minority-owned business. I'm very proud of that. So just wanted to share that with our audience as well. Number three, CrossFit Edwardsville was originally CrossFit Salvation. So the original vision for this gym was that it would be called CrossFit Salvation, which is sort of a nod back to our roots as a church group and as a ministry. The idea was we were pairing a ministry with CrossFit Salvation. Well, when CrossFit Edwardsville, when the founders of the business were initially applying to CrossFit for affiliation, turns out there's already a CrossFit Salvation. Still is. As of this recording, in Florida, CrossFit Salvation continues to go strong. Shout out to the CrossFit Salvation there, but because that was a taken name, we couldn't use it here, so CrossFit Edwardsville was then born. Fun fact, CrossFit now does not allow their affiliates to take the names of geographical locations. So anytime you see a place like CrossFit Edwardsville, CrossFit, Maryland Heights, CrossFit Boston, whatever, you know that gym is an original gangster gym that has been around for a while, because as of maybe 8 years ago, CrossFit stopped allowing affiliates to take the geographical location that they were in as part of their names. That's why you start seeing crazy CrossFit names like CrossFit Lion Storm, CrossFit Angry Chicken, or whatever. So really crazy names started coming up because you couldn't name your gym after the location where you set up shop. So that is number three. Number four, CrossFit Edwardsville outgrew its first brick and mortar commercial location in the first 6 months. The first location was at 4280 State Route 159 in Glen Carbon, right across the street from the IHOP, right next to the paint store. And you had people that were driving past, seeing us, or dining at IHOP and seeing CrossFit Edwardsville. Well, we had a lot of traffic, visibility, and CrossFit Edwardsville outgrew that first 2,000 square foot facility in 6 months and had to move out into a bigger space. Because, though, CrossFit Edwardsville had a 2-year lease on that first space, CrossFit Edwardsville continued to pay rent, but now on 2 locations, the initial 2,000 square foot facility and as well as the 6,000 square foot facility where it presently resides, paying 2 rents because they had to have more space. Fun fact. All right, next. Something I alluded to earlier, and this is number 5. CrossFit Edwardsville started as a church group. It was a ministry, and then it eventually grew and developed into also a group in the park. Notably, Edwardsville Township Community Park, also known as Airplane Park. That was the expansion. So there was initially the church group, and then there was the group in the park, and then there was a group in a basketball gymnasium. CrossFit Edwardsville was setting up little mini camps and developing a following early on in the earliest days. And that initial following was the group of clients, the group of CrossFitters that then went into that first commercial facility I mentioned earlier and formed the basis, the core initial group that later has become, I should say, the current CrossFit Edwardsville. Fun stuff. All right, so number 1, CFE was born in 2010. Number 2, it's a female and minority-owned business. Number 3, it was originally going to be CrossFit Salvation. Number 4, it outgrew its first space in 6 months. Number 5, it started as a church group, a group in the park. And number 6, people would travel from far and wide to be a part. So when CrossFit Edwardsville was born, it was the only CrossFit operation in the area over here in the Metro East. And as such, people would drive from St. Louis and far up north and far south and far east to come and do real CrossFit in a real CrossFit operation. To this day, we have people that travel as far as 45 minutes to be a part of this gym community specifically, because there's something really special going on here at CrossFit Edwardsville. As coaches, we're very proud and honored that people would travel such a distance, which is, not a small inconvenience, in order to be able to train with our coaches, train with us, and train as a part of this community and see all the benefits that CrossFit has to offer in terms of transforming how they look, how they feel, how they perform. So that's the next one. Up next, CrossFit Edwardsville has hosted many of the top skill seminars by many of the thought leaders and, I guess you would say, what we call them now, influencers in the CrossFit space. CrossFit Edwardsville has hosted seminars by Westside Barbell, Carl Paoli, who used to run gymnastics, WAD, as well as CrossFit Headquarters, the CrossFit Level 1 seminar, CrossFit Level 2 seminar. We've had CrossFit Strongman booked here. CrossFit Gymnastics has been here many times. We've had many Level 1s, many Level 2 seminars. And then others, we've had John North, Attitude Nation, come and lead a seminar here at our gym back when John North was one of the most well-known figures in weightlifting world. A lot of really cool stuff. We've met a lot of cool people, had a lot of amazing experiences learning from the top minds in the industry, and that's allowed us to be coaches that have quite a bit to share with our CrossFitters. Next, CrossFit Edwardsville athlete Fletcher Tholen was featured in the CrossFit Journal. Maybe this is something you've heard before, maybe it's not, but some time ago, there was a gentleman named Fletcher Tholen who was locked up in prison for making some mistakes in his youth. And when he was in prison, he discovered CrossFit. He was watching it on the TV, and he's like, this looks amazing. And he started doing CrossFit on his own while still in lockdown. But once he was released from prison, he reached out directly to CrossFit. He wrote them a letter telling them about his experience and how doing CrossFit in lockdown gave him a healthy, productive outlet. It gave him a direction for his energy and his mind so that he can make the best use of the time while he was in lockdown. And CrossFit reached out to him and sponsored him as an athlete, paid for his membership for him to come to the nearest CrossFit affiliate. And one day, Fletcher walked into our doors at CrossFit Edwardsville. The rest is history. He joined our gym, and his whole journey from just getting started with us at the gym to the many adventures, meeting his first wife, the physical and mental transformations he experienced, going from the halfway house to having a real job, all of that, like this life transformation that happened, was captured in Gary Roberts' CrossFit Journal video series, Road to Conviction. And the story largely followed Fletcher and myself, our evolving relationship as coach and athlete, as CrossFit competitors. That was all featured in the Road to Conviction video series, which you can find. You can find most of the episodes on YouTube. We've had hundreds of thousands of people watch our story because it's super inspiring, super motivational. It's a true story of redemption and having a second shot, a second try at life when you make some mistakes in your youth. It's a really cool story. If you haven't yet, check it out. I'll also show a very brief snippet for our video viewers at home. This opening pan is the very beginning of the video series and showing CrossFit Edwardsville and Fletcher walking in. It's a really cool story. If you've never seen it, check it out on YouTube. Again, the series is called Road to Conviction. Next, CrossFit Edwardsville had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu operation here for 1 month. So, right, for 1 month leading up to when the worldwide pandemic happened in 2020, February to March of 2020, CrossFit Edwardsville had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu business operating within its doors, led by Matt Travers, an amazing coach. And that was actually where I first was able to experience Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and start training it at a very, very basic level. Shout out to Matt Travers for being my very first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. I guess you could say I learned from him, and he kind of set the stage before later growth for myself as not just a CrossFit athlete, but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete also. Very cool stuff. Unfortunately, the pandemic caused that side of things at the business shut down. The good news is there are many amazing outlets for training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in our area if that is of interest to you. You might consider looking up Gracie Humaita Edwardsville, led by Professor Joe Walters if you're in this area, or where I train primarily, Head Nod HQ, led by Josh McKinney and my people there in Granite City. Shout out to them. And if you're in that area, look them up for BJJ training. Finally, item number 10, our most viral video ever. Some of you guys may remember the Bring Sally Up, Bring Sally Down fitness challenges that were going super viral several years ago. Well, one of our coaches, Coach Jason Davis, he recorded CrossFit Edwardsville doing this challenge, and it became by far our most viral and far-reaching video that we've ever had. I'm going to share that with you now. You'll be able to hear it on the audio side and see it on the video side. Ladies and gentlemen, Bring Sally Up, Bring Sally Down, Moby's song Flower, done as a squat challenge at CrossFit Edwardsville. almost 800,000, let's see here, almost 800,000 people watched that video of us squatting and standing up for the entire 4.5-minute duration of that song. So to recap, CFE was born in 2010. It's a female and minority-owned local business. It was originally CrossFit Salvation. It outgrew its first space in 6 months. It started as a church group and group in the park. People would travel from far and wide to be a part of it and still do. We've hosted the top skill seminars from thought leaders in the industry. CrossFit Edwardsville athlete Fletcher Tholen was featured in the CrossFit Journal. We had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu operation as part of our gym for a month before the COVID pandemic shut everything down. And our most viral video ever was Sally Up, Sally Down. This amazing video. And that, ladies and gentlemen, 10 fun facts about CrossFit Edwardsville you didn't know. You can learn more about CrossFit Edwardsville, by the way, by finding us on all of the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, YouTube, on all of the socials. Search for CrossFit Edwardsville. When you're ready, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com, book yourself a no-sweat conversation where you can talk to a coach about what your unique CrossFit journey looks like. We'd love to meet you, talk to you, and see how we can be of service to you. For today, that's it. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you in the next episode.